Now, as Australia becomes more diverse, there's a wider range of languages being heard and used across the nation. But what about those that have been here for thousands of years?
Marrin Gamu is a music video which has been created to show the diversity and beauty of Australia's Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander languages. Let's take a listen. Well, First Languages Australia made that video. Their director, Paton, and community language teacher, Stuart Muir, joins us now in the studio. Great to see you both.
Good morning.
That video, where did you make it?
It was made in Wiradjuri country, which is in central New South Wales, and in Queensland as well. Both those languages are represented in the name Marrin Gamu, Marrin being body in both Wiradjuri and the Torres Strait Islander language. And
what was the idea behind it, Paul? Why was did you feel the need to actually do this as a way of educating certainly young kids in the first place, but all of us about the importance of Indigenous language?
Yeah, we really wanted to promote the diversity of languages in Australia, really dispel the myth that there is only one language for Aboriginal languages in Australia, and give people an opportunity to see that diversity through song that they can really connect to and understand in a meaningful way.
Faye, as a community language teacher, how important is it to a community to hear and learn languages that are from that actual area?
Because our languages have been a sleeping language for so long, they haven't been spoken. And to bring them alive again is, for me, it's really great to see the kids speaking our language again, because I wasn't able to do that when I was young.
And Faye, just looking at the videos here, the kids do look genuinely excited, Indigenous and not Indigenous, in picking up the language and learning it. Is that how the process played out?
Yes, it is. And you know, when I go out into schools, the kids, because it's teaching kids, not just Aboriginal kids, it's the whole classroom, and they all just love it. They really get into it.
Paul, how do you see this being implemented more broadly? Would it be bringing this into all schools at some point, potentially? Singing, dancing, language?
Yeah, well, this song is now being promoted as a competition, and students will be able to participate in sharing this song and developing their own version of the song and being able to connect with the community and understand about that community language and be able to engage and learn more by doing their own song.
It looks, as I said to Faye, Paul, like a fun thing to make. How many takes did these young professionals need to get it down, Pat?
I reckon they got it down in one go.
Yes.
They look like seasoned professionals to me.
And you've teamed up with ABC Splash as well, which is a very important partnership.
Yeah, that's right. The ABC Splash has enabled us to promote the video out to those educational networks and hopefully get that engagement and participation in the competition.
There were 5 languages in this video clip, but there's hundreds of Indigenous languages across Australia. We might just try and bring up a graphic of the map, which is also part of this project, just showing how diverse, here's the map here, just how many languages there are spoken, those first languages. Is this a map? I've often been fascinated with that Australian map of the breakdown of the Aboriginal tribes in Australia. Is this a map that we should be seeing in schools more often, just to get that sense of how rich and diverse this culture is?
Yeah, every school should have an Aboriginal language map in their classroom to show that there's over 250 languages in Australia, and you know that everyone who lives anywhere in Australia is connected to that language and to that country, and that diversity and that connection is what makes us unique.
And Faye, which part of the country represents where you come from?
The Bundwarang country, which is Melbourne area, so that goes from Werribee River down to Wilson's Prong.
This must be a big, as you said, you weren't, people of your generation weren't taught these languages growing up, having lived through that and all the stigma and disadvantage and negative feelings towards Indigenous people, which are gradually being overcome, thankfully. Steps like this must be a welcome development.
It is, it's great. I'm able to, teach my grandchildren the language, which is something that my mother wasn't able to do. So, or my grandmother. So it's something that's really important to me.
And when you come across these sleeping languages, as you mentioned before, Faye, how do you wake them up? Who has the knowledge of those languages?
Well, it's all written down because, you know, our languages are oral languages, so we didn't write anything down. It's been the protectors and the settlers that have written everything down when they were with the Aboriginal people. So we're looking at the language that they wrote down, and we sort of have to do a forensic audit of, because it's just not one language that was written down. It was many different ways it was written down as well. So if somebody was Scottish or English or Cockney, it's the way they heard it, or German, it's the way they wrote it down. So we've got to go through and look at the way it was spelt and work out our spelling system with the assistance of a linguist.
Faye, Paul, it's such a terrific initiative. We wish you both all the best with it. Thanks for coming on and chatting about it this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.